question concerns the correct connection point for a grounding electrode conductor or GEC in a residential service. Specifically, the situation involves a replacement of a 100 amp residential panel where the existing GC was too short to reach the neutral bus in the meter combo. The connection was made on the utility, or POCO, side directly to the neutral lug within the meter combo. The electrical inspector disapproved of this connection, stating that the connection must be made on the load side. According to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, section 250.24a, the grounding electrode conductor must be connected to the grounded conductor of the service at the service entrance or to the grounding bus in or on the premises wiring panel or other approved point. In this scenario, connecting the GC to the grounded conductor, the neutral, at the service entrance, which is the meter combo, is considered to be on the load side of the service, as it is downstream of the service entrance equipment. The inspector's interpretation requiring the GC to be connected to the load side of the enclosure is not correct, according to the NEC. The code doesn't specify this requirement, and it would not be technically accurate. The NEC requires the GC to be connected to the grounded conductor of the service, irrespective of its physical location within the enclosure. To support this understanding, NEC section 250.24 can be cited. Furthermore, NEC section 250.24c provides additional clarification. This section states that the grounding electrode conductor must be connected to the grounding electrode system using a grounding electrode conductor connection device. This connection should be made to the grounding electrode conductor equipment terminal or the grounding terminal of the panel board at the service equipment. This reinforces the requirement that the GEC must connect to the grounding electrode system at the service equipment, which, in this case, is the meter combo. In simpler terms, the grounding electrode conductor's primary purpose is to connect the electrical system to the earth. This connection ensures that in the event of a fault, such as a short circuit, the fault current has a path to return to the source, tripping a breaker or fuse and clearing the fault. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a metallic water pipe, or a concrete-encased electrode, often referred to as a U for ground. The grounding electrode conductor is the wire that connects the system to the electrical service. The service entrance is the point where the electrical service enters the building. This typically includes the service drop or service lateral, the meter, and the main disconnect. The grounded conductor, often referred to as the neutral, is the conductor that carries the return current from the load back to the source. It is intentionally grounded at the service entrance. The NEC specifies where this grounding connection must be made to ensure safety and proper system operation. There are several reasons why connecting the GEC at the service entrance is crucial. Firstly, it provides a low impedance path for fault current. This ensures that in the event of a ground fault, the fault current can quickly return to the source, tripping a breaker or fuse. Secondly, it helps to stabilize the voltage to ground. This reduces the risk of electrical shock and helps to protect sensitive electronic equipment from damage. Thirdly, it provides a reference point for the electrical system. This helps to ensure that the voltage to ground is consistent throughout the system. There are different types of grounding electrode systems. The most common types include ground rods, metallic water pipes, and concrete-encased electrodes. Ground rods are typically 8 feet long and are driven into the ground. Metallic water pipes can be used as grounding electrodes if they are in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. Concrete-encased electrodes, or U for grounds, are typically made of a bar that is encased in concrete. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors. NEC Table 250.66 provides guidance on the appropriate size of the GEC based on the size of the service conductors. It is important to ensure that the GEC is properly sized to handle the potential fault current. The grounding electrode conductor must be continuous and unbroken. Splices are generally not permitted in the GEC, as they can increase the impedance of the grounding path. If a splice is necessary, it must be made using an irreversible compression connector or by exothermic welding. The grounding electrode conductor must be securely connected to the grounding electrode system. Connections must be made using approved connectors and methods. For example, when connecting to a ground rod, a listed ground clamp should be used. The grounding electrode conductor must be protected from physical damage. If the GEC is exposed to physical damage, it must be protected by conduit or other approved means. The location of the grounding electrode system should be readily accessible. This allows for inspection and maintenance of the grounding system. The NEC specifies the requirements for grounding and bonding in electrical systems. Grounding is the intentional connection of a neutral conductor to earth. Bonding is the connection of non-current carrying metal parts to each other and to the grounding system. Grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. They help to protect people from electrical shock and help to protect equipment from damage. The NEC is updated every 3 years. It is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC to ensure that electrical systems are installed and maintained safely. In addition to the NEC, there may be local codes and regulations that apply to electrical installations. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine the applicable codes and regulations. When installing or modifying an electrical system, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations. This will help to ensure that the system is safe and reliable. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions about grounding and bonding or other electrical topics. A qualified electrician can help you to ensure that your electrical system is installed and maintained safely and according to code. Understanding the proper grounding and bonding techniques is crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Grounding provides a path for fault current to return to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. Bonding connects non-current carrying metal parts to create a low impedance path for fault current, further enhancing safety. The grounding electrode system is the connection to the earth, providing a reference point for the electrical system and helping to stabilize voltage. The grounding electrode conductor, or GEC, connects the electrical system to the grounding electrode system. The size and installation of the GEC are critical for ensuring its effectiveness. Bonding jumpers are used to connect metal parts together, ensuring that they are at the same electrical potential. This helps to prevent voltage differences that could create a shock hazard. Equipment grounding conductors, or EGs, provide a path for fault current to return to the source from electrical equipment. These conductors are typically green or bare copper. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are devices that detect ground faults and interrupt the circuit, preventing electrical shock. GFCIs are required in many locations, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs, are devices that detect arc faults and interrupt the circuit, preventing electrical fires. SIs are required in many locations, such as bedrooms and living rooms. Surge protective devices, or SPDs, protect electrical equipment from voltage surges, such as those caused by lightning. SPD are often installed at the service entrance. Electrical panels are the distribution points for electrical circuits. They contain circuit breakers or fuses that protect the circuits from overcurrent. Electrical boxes are enclosures for electrical wiring and devices. They provide protection and support for the wiring and devices. Conductors are the wires that carry electrical current. They are typically made of copper or aluminum. Insulators are materials that prevent electrical current from flowing. They are used to insulate conductors and other electrical components. Electrical tape is used to insulate and protect electrical connections. It is typically made of vinyl or rubber. Wire connectors are used to connect wires together. They are typically made of plastic or metal. Conduit is used to protect electrical wiring from physical damage. It is typically made of metal or plastic. Electrical codes and standards are developed by organizations such as the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These codes and standards provide guidance on the safe installation and maintenance of electrical systems. Electrical safety training is essential for anyone who works with electrical systems. This training should cover topics such as grounding and bonding, shock hazards, and lockout-tagout procedures. Lockout-tagout procedures are used to prevent accidental energization of electrical equipment during maintenance or repair. These procedures involve disconnecting the power source and placing a lock and tag on the disconnect switch. Electrical hazards include electrical shock, electrical burns, and electrical fires. It is important to be aware of these hazards and to take precautions to avoid them. Electrical safety equipment includes items such as rubber gloves, insulated tools, and safety glasses. This equipment helps to protect workers from electrical hazards. Electrical inspections are conducted to ensure that electrical systems are installed and maintained according to code. These inspections are typically performed by qualified electrical inspectors. Electrical maintenance involves performing routine checks and repairs on electrical systems. This helps to prevent problems and to ensure that the systems operate safely and reliably. Electrical troubleshooting involves identifying and resolving problems with electrical systems. This requires a thorough understanding of electrical principles and the ability to use test equipment. Electrical repairs should be performed by qualified electricians. These repairs should be performed according to code and using approved methods and materials. Electrical upgrades may be necessary to accommodate increased electrical demand or to improve the safety and reliability of an electrical system. These upgrades should be planned and performed by qualified electricians. Electrical remodeling involves making changes to an existing electrical system as part of a renovation project. This should be planned and performed by qualified electricians. Electrical new construction involves installing a new electrical system in a building. This should be planned and performed by qualified electricians. Understanding electrical principles is essential for anyone who works with electrical systems. These principles include Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's laws, and the power equation. Ohm's law states that the voltage across the conductor is proportional to the current flowing through it and the resistance of the conductor. Kirchhoff's laws are a set of two laws that describe the flow of current and voltage in an electrical circuit. The power equation states that the power consumed by a circuit is equal to the voltage across the circuit multiplied by the current flowing through it. Electrical circuits are composed of various components such as resistors, capacitors, and inductors. Resistors impede the flow of current. Capacitors store electrical energy. Inductors oppose changes in current. Electrical diagrams are used to represent electrical circuits. These diagrams use symbols to represent the various components of the circuit. Electrical test equipment is used to measure electrical parameters such as voltage, current, and resistance. This equipment includes multimeters, clamp meters, and insulation testers. Electrical safety is paramount when working with electrical systems. Always to energize circuits before working on them. Use appropriate personal protective equipment. Follow lockout-tagout procedures. Be aware of potential hazards. In conclusion, the proper connection of the grounding electrode conductor is a critical aspect of electrical safety. Connecting the GEC to the grounded conductor at the service entrance, which in this case is the meter combo, is compliant with an EC section 250.24a. The inspector's interpretation requiring connection on the load side of the enclosure is not supported by the NEC.